Hello everyone, welcome back. More Moo Strats, and this time we're going to be covering the Flying Machine, the second stage on the Specter of Torment any percent route. And again, we're covering the Bounding Soul here. Much like before, we're going to be doing this stage in a way that's not exactly beginner friendly. We're going to be breaking a lot of the early checkpoints. We do need less money overall, so this route actually does get to spare the final two checkpoints. But again, if you were looking to have a more marathon-friendly run, or if you're just not interested in being that terrified of the stage, there is plenty of optional money all over this level. You may have noticed that there's a small timer that's been running since the fade out on the level select, and I have that there because for this level and for the Exploratorium, there are certain elements of the stage that are global cycles. So if you're wondering if you're not saving as much time as you possibly could be, or if a mistake is costing you from the opportunity to save a handful more seconds, then this will hopefully illustrate what exactly you're looking to get or where you need to be at a certain point. Typically when I do the Flying Machine, I only allow myself to make maybe one or two mistakes depending on how grave they are, and at most they'll cost me a second or two, which is about all the leeway you'll have before you'll miss out on the early fan cycles. Now, let me set this straight. There are two potential times that you can get for the Flying Machine. The first one is an absolutely ridiculous time, and I timed it out to be about 2 minutes and 58 seconds from that fade out to the moment I get to Propeller's boss arena. The biggest determining factor, though, will be, first of all, after the auto-scroller, there'll be a fan cycle that you have to not only reach before it starts blowing, but you actually, if you really want to get that earlier time that saves about 2 more seconds, 3 more seconds, you actually need to have the wherewithal to jump before it starts blowing and have it help you finish that jump. Now, the way I make sure I know when I should be jumping for said jump is I'm listening to the music, so I hope you really love music as much as I do, especially in this game. If you happen to be humming it along, you can use musical cues in about every stage to let yourself know how you're doing. And the song will have looped about one time all the way through when you reach this area. There's a note that gets held, and if you are in this room before that note is held, then you have a little bit of time. If you are doing this transition as the note is being held, then you should probably just go and jump, because that fan will be blowing by the time you get there. If you happen to have a flawless beginning, which does occasionally happen where I end up getting every single trick, you actually have enough time to pick up that 200 gem after the auto-scroller. But remember, it's not the determining factor on that time save. Triple Jawas in the room afterwards is, if you can get through this room in a fashion similar to this, and you can tell how fast you're going through it by the up and down platforms, then you should reach this room and only have to deal with 2 wind cycles. I actually got here so early that I kind of caught the tail end of an even earlier wind cycle, but it's basically impossible to beat that one. So you're ideally looking to get through in 2 wind cycles in the Beto room, and then a 258 as you touch this screen transition. Now, I had to clip some footage together because my first propeller fight did not go well, and I'll be covering what exactly happened there and how you can recover from having less money than you need. Like right now, I don't have those 2 money bags on the left, but I did get a perfect fight, or at least perfect in the sense that that's what I'm going for. There is a way to get a more ridiculous fight, and I'll once again provide links to that, but this is the fight that I'm comfortable with going for. It's very consistent and pretty fast. So once again, as we get into the abridged pointers here, the small jump that's done here is as soon as you notice Spectre has walked. That's the earliest you can jump. To save a few of those frames, you'll be cutting as you ledge hop so that you start descending more quickly, and you'll want to walk off as much as you can before you jump. This will minimize the amount of climbing on this ladder you have to do before you're going to do 2 wall kicks anyway. And again, wall kicks are done by tapping against the wall, releasing, jumping, and then repeating. Now, I previously said this was a very difficult trick to do and I didn't enjoy going for it, but if you jump lower, it actually makes it a lot easier to nail this trick. This means that as you jump off the first wall and then off the second wall, you actually basically land on the left side of this falling brick platform, which gives you just enough leeway to hold forward, recognize that you're walking forward, use that momentum to slide into the jelly, and then turn around and backwards damage boost. And it is a pretty small time window that you're looking to do this in. But again, every bit counts, and if you feel like you're not making that first cycle because of mistakes that you make in other rooms, this will certainly help you out. As for this next room, this is a trick that Zhank came up with and was thereby slightly modified from the other runners. This is the most comfortable way I have of doing it, where I don't jump off the ladder. I simply climb up to the top, hold left, and then I let myself fall down, and then I do one up dash off of the first onion that is now appearing on the screen, and then I wall jump, and then I do a dash off the second onion. It is possible to just do two dashes, like one and then the other, but if you don't do that wall jump first, you won't clear this ledge, and you'll have to do a ledge hop. So either one, they should be about as fast, but that's the one that I like doing. It's a lot cleaner looking. And it is possible to pick up that 5 gem by doing a hop as soon as you dash attack the beetle. Now, if you don't care about cycles and you're certainly more afraid of dying and breaking the checkpoint, right below where Spectre is right now is a 750 chest. You can always pick that up for safety. But I like to jump and do a dash attack off this first onion, and then as I land on the second platform, I actually wait for just a split second, and I make sure that when I do jump again, it's a full jump, and I'm slightly delaying myself here on purpose, because when I do this up dash attack off the next onion, the third onion that's in front of me, he has to be a little bit lower, and I want to be a little more to the left, so that my dash attack not only does a down dash attack on him, but crashes into the dirt instead of landing me on top of where the shutters are, because that one single motion getting me into that pit rather than me having to jump, turn around, and then jump into that pit, that's what's going to make this dash attack much easier, as I'm going to simply walk off this platform, and once I get close enough to this onion, I'll be doing an up dash attack off of him. If you happen to trip up or get stuck anywhere at any point for any reason, that onion will be much lower, and it is still possible to do an up dash attack off of him, but you have to jump so that you'll be closer to him. That way, when you do up dash attack off of him, you don't dash attack into the other onion that is directly above you, which can frequently happen. Now, in this next room, this is one of the most annoying things that I had to get used to doing on a pad. Keyboard users actually have a much easier time doing this, but it's possible to do a rising slash, and that's done by pressing the attack button basically at the same time as you press your jump button. Not one and then the other, and not just before. They basically kind of have to be where you roll your thumb across the two buttons for the pad users out there. If you're doing this on keyboard, it's a lot easier for whatever reason. When I was messing with it on keyboard, I actually found it to be a lot easier to do, but Speedfrog pointed out to me that this was something that you can do to cut that checkpoint in 2 jumps, because that ceiling is too low to do it in 3 jumps. Spectre will land before he has the opportunity to cut a 3rd time if you jump normally. And again, this releasing the dirt clod and doing a dash attack off of it is in the hopes that I can get past this hover haft. It is a slight setup, it's a little finicky. If you jump too late, then when this hover haft comes down, he'll hit you. If you jump too early, then you'll actually walk into him. And that's the only way you can really adjust your timing on him, is think about what happened or where he hit you last. So in that case, I actually was too late. I avoided his rising up, but then on the way back down, he managed to hit me. And it's very inconsistent. I would say that the setup is consistent, but the execution is not, so that's not something I rely on doing. Luckily, it won't affect that first cycle that we are looking for in this stage. Now, in this room, there is a very easy to pick up 200 gem, and I do recommend going for it. All you have to do is just make sure that you hold right as you fall down and cut as you approach the wall so you don't stick to it. Once you remotely see that you're coming in, you've basically gotten it, so just start turning around immediately and jump. And then again, you're going to want to hug the wall and cut it so that you don't stick to it. And this is so that you can get the new, the fastest dinghy dropper kill that you possibly can get. It just sneaks in 1 extra hit, and it's kind of tricky. Now, to get this kill, you have to be as efficient as you possibly can be. You have to be very comfortable with Spectre's sliding, his swings. You have to make sure you know how you're moving around. So you're trying to get in position as quickly as possible, get it to the right side, and you want to basically be off of it, but you don't want to fall off of it, obviously. You're going to use your recoil to prevent you from sliding off. You're looking to get 4 grounded attacks, and if you're pushing yourself back too far, then you need to adjust by taking a small step forward. But if you don't get 4 grounded attacks, then the rest of the kill will just barely be keeping up with the regular stuff. Then 2 dash attacks on him upwards. The first one shouldn't be difficult at all, but the second one, he'll start to lower down a lot. So you need to make sure that you get it before he finishes lowering down, or you're going to bonk off the top, which is completely immune. Immediately after that second dash attack, you need to be backing up to avoid the aerial explosions, and then you need to be going to the right again immediately so that you can bounce the 2 bombs on the ground into the dinghy dropper. The second hit, the one that actually gets the bombs to land on him, should hit the dinghy dropper, and then you'll either slide off or you stay on the ground, which is fine, as long as you get another attack. Avoid that explosion, then do one more grounded attack, and then one up dash attack. And if you're doing the regular previous kill, then instead of finishing with one grounded attack and one regular dash attack, you would be doing 2 grounded attacks before your dash attack. So here's your dinghy dropper at full speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, reflect, 1, 2, 1, up. Now at this point, if you're humming along, then you should be breaking the checkpoint when it goes dun 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 dun. Normally I'm breaking the dinner point in rhythm with the music, but I was actually on such good pace at that point that I had heard that specific melody when I was on my way up to the skull. Again, you'll have another musical indicator once you get to this section. You're looking for the final, the crescendo, I guess, just before the song would loop. So if you manage to get through this far and you've been keeping pace, then you only have one more trick before you can find out if you executed well enough. You do have to be fairly quick here. You want to make sure that you break that dirt block as quickly as possible. Don't worry about that 50 gem, you'll pick it up in a second. Land on the bottom, make sure the wind just barely pushes you off, and then tap left so that you stick to the wall. Do a full jump to get across this pit. Be careful, I've had instances where I jumped too early and I somehow got hit by that onion, but it's not common, don't worry. You just want to make sure that you are going quickly so that you can updash that onion in time to reach the wall, jump over this gap, and get to this jelly before it electrocutes again. And again, this is the alternate jelly strat that Speedfrog came up with a while ago. Now all I can say about Triple Jawa is that it is an incredibly random room, and the way they move has never been consistent. However, the way you can get through the room can be consistent. Please practice this room a lot. There's a checkpoint in there, you don't even have to break it anymore. Now this first one, ideally you'll actually bonk into him instead of whiffing that first attack over him, because this sets it up so that when you do dash attack him, if you land on that first platform, then when you jump onto the second platform, you can whiff on the second Jawa, which means that you'll be getting further and over the third Jawa, and this is the most ideal outcome that you can get. If you end up whiffing the first one entirely, then you'll probably end up getting 2 down dash attacks off the second one. They can move in all kinds of weird manners, and it's just never a good time. You can see that I got here just in time to get to the center before the fan kicked up again, so I effectively skipped one cycle. I tried to get over there, but it actually doesn't matter, so really don't stress out about it. Just make sure the wind doesn't push you back over the first ledge jump that you did. Now, one ledge jump again, get a dash attack off the Beto, and then you'll barely be able to make it past the shutters before the fan kicks up again. So this was effectively a 2-cycle Beto wind room, and that lets me know that I've gotten through the stage as quickly as I can. If I had the timer going from the beginning of my run, typically I would be getting through that room around the 5:58 second mark. That is the fastest. If I am short one cycle from this stage, then I'll usually be getting in at the 6:01 or 6:02 mark, depending on how clean I was in planes. You want to make sure that you have around 57, 5800. The minimum is 5400 to purchase Rail Mail afterwards. Now what exactly happened with Propeller? Well, you're going to see that the intro was just fine. I managed to get all of my hits in. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. But then I started moving to the right too early, and that baits Propeller to the left, and you can see the disappointment on my face. So then how is this fight done? As he finishes laughing, he's going to ready his sword, and you'll hear a shink sound effect. This indicates that he is about to do his first lunge. Do not jump, walk forward, and cut before he starts moving. Then immediately cut the other way. If you don't cut him as he starts moving and before he starts moving the second time around, then he's going to start dashing on your hits rather than after every other hit. After this 7th hit, you actually want to walk forward, don't chase him, turn around, and let him fly into your attack. 1, 2, jump, dash, attack, 3. Now, it is possible to have gotten 4 more attacks in before the floor broke, but that's actually incredibly difficult, and it involves timing all of your swings so that none of them hit him when he is in a resting position. As you can see, I'm waiting here, and basically once my money reappeared, just like barely a second or so later, is when you can start moving to the right. And you do want to start moving quickly for this kill. For this kill to be consistent, you have to get 3 attacks on him before he starts laughing. A 4th attack will push him back, step forward for a 5th attack that'll push him back one more time. A 6th attack before he lunges, and then this will make it so that he won't be able to get over that ledge immediately. You've gotten so much recoil on him that when he lunges to try and get back, he just kind of sits on the edge there, and you get to have a few more free attacks on him. But this is what makes fighting Propeller so difficult, because you'll never know what side of him you're going to be on, unless if you've done the fight like this so many times that you know he's going to behave this exact same way every time. So once again at full speed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 breaks, stay left, then go right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now in the event that you are short some money, as I was here, I should have 8,400. We'll be fixing that in a second, but first make sure you go up to red. Judgment Rush is on the far right, so 1 tap left and then confirm your choice. The Judgment Rush dungeon hasn't changed at all, it's the same as it was before. However, if you want to hope for some more money, you can hold left like I did. You can sometimes land on that extra bit of stuff that falls out of the last skeleton. So again, you need 8,400 for that rail mail. You can always come up here and you can check your juice bar bros, and after beating the plains, you get this guy, so he gives you 600. There's a couple other stages that'll give you more, and that is just enough for me to offer up free Manny and then purchase the armor itself with 200 left over. Typically and ideally, I'll end up having about 8,700 when I finish Flying Machine. Thank you for watching, and get ready for some more global cycle based action in the Explodatorium. Stay spooky.